Hey there! Thank you for joining me. I am an Army veteran, a retiree, and federal government employee. And this channel is for the military transition from military to civilian. Today I'm talking about the GS pay scale. If you're new here, please subscribe. Now let's get started. When I was waiting to retire from the Army, I contemplated pursuing a federal GS career. And one of the things I was wondering is if the GS pay scale is the same as the Army pay scale. Now, there are some similarities where the Army pay scale has grade and time in service. The GS pay scale has grade and steps. Now, the first thing to point out is time in service is not exactly like steps, although there are similarities. Each step equates to roughly 3% of a pay increase in your grade. And the way that the steps generally work is you would start as a step 1. Now, you can negotiate your step level when you're entering the federal government during the hiring process. But generally speaking, a lot of employees start off as step 1. And if you do start off as a step 1, you would wait 1 year, and provided that you had satisfactory performance, then at the end of that year, you would be a step 2. Now, progressing from step 1 to step 3 is conducted by taking 1 year intervals. You have to wait 1 year per step. Steps 4 through 6, you wait 2 years in between each step. And then step 7 to step 9, you have to wait 3 years in between them. So, if an individual came in as a step 1, to reach step 10 would generally take about 18 years. But there is another way to increase steps called QSI, which stands for Quality Step Increase. This is an additional within grade step increase, and this is usually given to employees that demonstrate outstanding performance. Some eligibility requirements include that your position must be permanent. You cannot hold a temporary position to receive a QSI. Also, you must not have received one in the previous year. Now, looking at the GS pay scale, you will notice that it starts at GS1 and it goes to GS15. Now, in my experience, in the DC area, it is very rare to encounter a GS1 through 3 position. In fact, I haven't seen anything lower than a GS7 here. Your GS opportunities will largely depend what's available in your geographic area. An area that is not shown on the GS scale is the SES pay chart, where the GS stands for General Service. SES stands for Senior Executive Service. If you are curious, this is what an SES pay chart looks like. There are generally 2 types of SES. You have your career SES and your political SES. The GS pay scale varies depending on your geographic location. There are actually 47 locality areas, and your pay will change based on the cost of living in that area. For example, in San Francisco, a GS11 Step 1 is earning $78,000 a year, and that same GS11 Step 1 is earning $66,000 a year in Columbus, Ohio. I will leave a link below in the description so that you can determine what your GS pay would be in your geographic area. A question that I hear often is there equivalent GS ranks to military ranks? And I know there are some websites and there are some postings online that say that there is an equivalent. I largely disagree. I don't believe that is the case. For example, there are some E4s that leave the Army and are able to get a GS-13 job. Now, there are also Command Sergeant Majors and Majors that leave the Army and decide to take a GS-7 position. There are no hard and fast rules that state because there's a rank on your DD-214 that you should be entitled to a certain GS level. It is largely dependent upon how you are meeting that specialized experience area in the job announcement. And I plan to make another video about that at a later date. It helps to understand the GS pay scale before you start applying to federal jobs, so you can take into consideration what your financial needs are and how much you believe you are worth. Another thing to consider is if you want those higher grade positions, you need to consider potentially moving out of your area. For example, there are a lot more GS-14 jobs around the Washington, D.C. area than, say, Kansas or Indianapolis. Make sure you are using usajobs.gov and that you are searching and comparing between the different areas when searching for your next opportunity. Well, that wraps up my video on GS pay scale. If you have any GS pay insights, any questions, or comments, please leave those down below. If you like this video, please consider clicking like and subscribing. And I'll see you in the next one. Thank you for watching.